This is Luke of WeAreChange.org, and this is going to be one of the most important videos that I ever released. ISIS has just come out with a video killing the Jordanian pilot in a graphic, horrible video. No one could find it online. I saw it, and it is gruesome. Right now, the mainstream media is talking about this, and I am perplexed, and I do not understand, and I have many questions to why ISIS is creating so many enemies when their major goal is to create an Islamic State in the Middle East, and they're losing to the Kurds right now in Syria. They're losing land. Why would they be doing this? And the answer is shocking. We're going to answer this by showing you and giving you information and questions that need to be answered, and everyone should be demanding an answer to. Right now, looking at this situation, we know for a fact the Washington Post admittedly reported how the CIA openly talked about making fake terrorist videos. Here we go, Washington Post. The agency actually did make a video purporting to show Osama bin Laden and his cronies sitting around a campfire, swinging a bottle of liquor and savoring their conquest with boys. One of the former CIA officials recalled, chuckling at the memory. The actors were drawn from some of the darker-skinned employees, he said. So we know the CIA has before made fake terrorist videos. They did this in 2003, leading up to the election in 2004 of George W. Bush. They did this so they could help propaganda, but they never released this video. But we know that they have the capabilities and have done so of creating fake terrorist videos. Another very important fact: the CIA in Jordan is actually training Syrian rebels that are joining al-Nusra and ISIS in Syria. This is widely known. This is the Nation reporting this. The CIA has a secret training facility in Jordan, one of our allies against ISIS, and they're training people that are fighting along ISIS, giving them money from the US, weapons and communications, and going up fighting against Assad along with Al-Qaeda and ISIS. This is insane. No one is asking these questions on the mainstream media right now. All we're hearing is how graphic and horrible the video is and how we need to fight Islamic terrorism. You're not hearing how our own government, our own money is being sent to Syrian fighters that are openly working and fighting with ISIS. We also know that the US and other allies are conducting airstrikes against ISIS. The Syrian Kurds that are fighting ISIS on the ground are saying that they're not even working. And the Jordanian pilot was a part of these airstrikes. The Jordanian government is allowing the CIA to train people who fight alongside these guys. The airstrikes are ineffective against ISIS. You have to ask yourself, why are the airstrikes ineffective? We also know, this is a very strange fact, that France recently voted to give Palestine statehood, and then all of a sudden they were attacked by ISIS. We know Japan gave Palestine $100 million to reconstruct Gaza, and they also had ISIS take 2 Japanese citizens and execute them. We know that the Paris attacker of the terrorist attacks that happened there recently, it came out on CNN that he knew the underwear bomber. CBS News reported that the underwear bomber was a double agent. The Guardian reported that the underwear bomber was working for the CIA. We know that one of the plotters of the Paris terrorist attacks escaped through Turkey. We did an interview with a journalist who was there on the ground in Syria, who saw weapons, arms, and rebels walking across the Turkish-Syrian border openly without a problem. Turkey is helping these rebels, these extremists, enter the war zone and join ISIS. Turkey is one of our allies in the United States. We move on here. Israel is bombing Assad. Assad is fighting ISIS. Israel is actually treating rebels and ISIS members in their hospitals when they're fighting against Assad. Israeli weapons have been found along with communication devices when Syrian soldiers and Iraqi soldiers are defeating ISIS. They're finding out that ISIS is using Israeli communications, Israeli arms. Israel is bombing the Syrian government, which is fighting ISIS, and treating the rebels in their own hospital. We did this report just a few weeks ago. If you remember, just a little bit over a year ago, Obama was about to bomb Syria. Only because of public pressure, only because of Russia setting up their warships, protecting Assad and Syria, did we not bomb Syria. We were bombing Assad, not the rebels, not Al-Qaeda, not ISIS, but we were aiding them. We were giving them weapons, cash, communications. Our money was given to these Islamic terrorists, these murderers, these butchers, these people who just killed these pilots. Just over a year ago, we were sending weapons and arms to these individuals. And the Syrian rebels, they were called moderate rebels, as the media tried to portray them, as the government tried to portray them. The Syrian rebels said, we'll use U.S. weapons to fight Assad, whether Obama likes it or not. It's insane knowing that a lot of the power that ISIS has came as a direct result of U.S. foreign policy. We know when ISIS was making headway in Iraq and stealing U.S. military Humvees, weapons, rocket systems, night vision goggles, that the U.S. had a protocol to automatically destroy it, that they had the capabilities to destroy ISIS rebels from attaining U.S. military hardware, and they chose not to. We know that the CIA is intricately involved with the Syrian rebels, with ISIS, with these terror organizations. Investigative journalist Wayne Madsen revealed it to us in this video that we have for you. If you look up ISIS, we talk to scholars, we talk to philosophers, we talk to former intelligence agents, investigative journalists, people on the ground, former politicians about the situation, and they all come to the same conclusion. We know for a very fact that if it wasn't for U.S. foreign policy, ISIS would not exist. We know for a very fact that the CIA before used to make terrorist videos. We know that Jordan and the CIA are training the rebels that are fighting alongside ISIS. We know the airstrikes are not working against ISIS. We have this weird coincidence that happened with Japan and France. We have the Paris attacker linked to the underwear bomber who has been connected with the CIA and worked for the CIA. We know Turkey is openly helping ISIS. We know Israel is doing the same. We know most of their power and weapons comes from the United States. And yet, you do not hear about this anywhere in the mainstream media. So why is ISIS creating more enemies with Jordan, with France, with Japan? Why is ISIS not concentrating on their main goal of gaining more land and influence and creating an Islamic State? Why are they doing this? That's a question that needs to be answered. Why is this happening? It's continuing perpetual war. It's building the industrial military complex. It's restricting freedom. It's the reason why President Barack Obama wants to reauthorize the AUMF, the Authorization for Military Force, where he will have the power to kill and assassinate anyone he wants when he wants. We know Canada recently passed a law where they get to take away anything from the internet that they deem is a threat to security. We know all these things are happening, and yet no one is asking these questions. Educate yourself. All the sources, do not believe anything I just said right now. All the sources for this video will be in the description below. Double checked, fact checked everything. And if you know anybody who's being conned by this fear-mongering, misinformation, this propaganda that's happening right now in the mainstream media talking about this horrible situation, make sure you send them this video so they can be asking the right questions of how ISIS actually came to power, what's really happening behind the scenes, how our money, how our intelligence agencies are wrapped up and involved in this with all these other foreign countries. What's really happening here? Ask yourself that question. Question everything. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe. We're going to have a lot more important content when it comes to ISIS on this YouTube channel. Question everything.